This was like that Costco trade that I took a couple months ago that we were down 60%, or yeah, back in January we were down 60%, and then we ended up being profitable over 200% on the swing. This is the exact same setup that it was. All right, so I want everyone to pay attention to this. Remember how I say that like the time frame that you take the trade on has to be the time frame that invalidates the trade? I want everyone to remember that. The time frame that you take the trade on has to be the same time frame that invalidates the trade. But about this example, look at what happened. So we took this trade based off, or I, in hindsight, obviously, right? But if I had seen the 1-3 on the week, I'd be like, okay, 1-3, 2 up on the week. That's my actionable signal to take. Because I am taking the trade based off the 1-3 actionable signal on the weekly chart, I have to place my 50% on the weekly chart, right? Not only are you placing your 50% on the weekly chart, you have to wait for the weekly time frame to close below that invalidation level to get out of the trade. Notice how on the weekly time frame, price actually comes down to your invalidation, but it ends up hammering, and then you end up being in the play for this entire move. Why this is so significant? Because if you were to compare this to the daily real quick, and I'll go on the day chart, right? You can see that you took the trade when it went 1-3-2 up on the week. So this is your entry. Okay, so you entered on, what was it, on Tuesday? Or when did you trigger? Triggered on Tuesday. Okay, so price triggered on Tuesday, right? The next day after pricing, this is what I'm talking about. When I get in, what is your trade plan? The 1-3-2 up on the week, right? And until it closes below your invalidation, you don't get out, right? Based off the time frame that you took the trade. On Tuesday, you would have gotten in. On Wednesday, you gap down. Not only do you gap down, you end up going down and you end up filling this downside gap. You have a downside gap right here. So I'm gonna mark this, boom, downside gap. Notice what price does. This is why I love this imbalances. Sometimes price will come down, shout out like Amazon today, where price comes down to fill an imbalance. I hope people had that gap marked, because that's all Amazon did, is come to fill an imbalance. And we're gonna look to see if Amazon wants to TTO back. Obviously we're gonna wait for tomorrow and things like that. But if you look at XPO on the daily, you can see that price dropped down to fill this gap, and then the next day you have an inside bar. The reason why this is significant, because on Wednesday you close below the 50%, but then on Thursday you open above the 50% and you close inside day, just for Friday for you to gap up and actually go in force 2 up on the week. So notice how if you are a daily participant, right? So you took XPO based on the weekly candle, but then now you switch to a daily participant, which you're not supposed to do. You would have gotten out on that Wednesday because it's now below your 50%. But this is why we wait for the close of the candle. And you waiting for the close of the candle that you took the trade on. So if I took the trade based off a monthly, right, a monthly actionable signal, I have to wait for that month to close below the 50% before I consider getting out. Now, I talk about consider getting out. What does that mean? Oh, I might be in drawdown as it's going down. Yes, you will be in drawdown as it's going down. But how many times if you had waiting for confirmation, you would have been either more profitable in this scenario, or you wouldn't have gotten a loss, and that could have ended up being a winner, right? You have to wait for the confirmation and the closes of the candle. The closes of the candle that you took the trade on is very, very, very important. Okay, so if you took this trade based off the 1-3-2 up on the week, you need a weekly close below 47.13 to consider getting out of that trade. Unless we get a weekly close below 47.13, you do not get out, because you'll have days like this where you only have your close on the day below Wednesday, but Thursday inside day, Friday gap up. This is literally the same Costco trade that we took back in, what was it, January 17th, when I was in the airport, whatever like that. Y'all remember that trade? Down one day, and I remember Duhan and Novi, they said, oh, we're down 50%, buy more. Next thing you know, they up. So remember, the close of the candle you took the trade on, the close of the candle you took the trade based off of, okay? That's your invalidation. If you're taking it based off the month, you don't, just because it closes below 50% on a daily chart, you don't care about that. You're not supposed to care about that, okay? So hopefully that helps.